ever been to the Globe Theatre? The Lord Chamberlain's men built it in 1599. However, in 1613, the theater burned down during a performance of Henry VIII. It was rebuilt a year later. Being a lifelong fan of Shakespeare, I have dreamed of visiting the Globe Theatre. So when my best friend Molly invited me on a trip to London, I eagerly accepted as my dream was about to come true. But never would I have anticipated things to go down the way they did. Molly and I were on our plane to London when we discussed our plans. Molly agreed to go with me when I said I wanted to visit the Globe Theatre. However, she said that we wouldn't be there by normal means. Instead, we were going to go to the theater at night. Molly was the typical rules are made to be broken kind of person. I asked why she wanted to do that. In response, Molly told me of a legend surrounding the Globe Theatre. In the early 1600s, two friends named Baldwin and Hugh wanted to become actors. When the Globe Theatre opened, the duo vowed to do everything they could to land a part in at least one of the theater's plays. In 1613, Baldwin and Hugh hoped for the lead role of Henry VIII. Baldwin earned the lead role, but Hugh couldn't get one. On the surface, Hugh was happy for his friend, but deep down, he was furious. In a fit of jealousy, Hugh turned to the dark arts. He placed a curse on the theater that would not only ruin the play, but stop anyone from going there again. So, on the night of the play, a cannon suddenly went off, thus starting the fire. Baldwin and his fellow actors died as the flames trapped them on the stage. Hugh went into hiding after that, never to be seen again. Then, when the Globe Theatre was rebuilt, strange things started happening at night. It was believed that every night, the spirits of the lost actors reenacted the play they couldn't finish all those years ago. I rolled my eyes, telling Molly that there's no such thing as ghosts. She responded by placing a bet. If I was right and there were no ghosts, I would get $100 from Molly. And if there are spirits in the Globe Theatre, I would give her $100. Confident in my beliefs, I accepted. Molly and I broke into the Globe Theatre on our first night in London. To our surprise, the front doors weren't locked. I figured that someone from security had forgotten and didn't think much of it. We started by exploring the museum part of the Globe Theatre. I walked past the exhibits, admiring the beautiful costumes donned on the mannequins. At some point, I realized that Molly wasn't with me. I quietly called Molly's name as I walked around the room. I stopped at some point to look around when a hand suddenly grabbed me from behind. I nearly jumped out of my skin as I screamed. Only when I quieted down could I hear laughter as the hand released me. I turned around and saw Molly emerging from behind a curtain. I scolded Molly, telling her to keep quiet unless she wanted us to get caught. Molly said that there were no guards or security in the theater. She then turned on her phone's flashlight and shined it around the ceiling. "See? No cameras," Molly said. I was perplexed. Why was the Globe Theatre left unprotected like this? Molly suggested jokingly that Baldwin must have scared all the criminals away. Our private tour eventually brought us to the stage. I looked around in awe at the outdoor theater. I almost felt as if I'd gone back in time. Molly got on the stage and told me to do the same. As I did so, the air suddenly felt denser. Molly noticed my reaction and asked if I was okay. I explained that the air somehow felt different. "Now that you mention it, it does feel colder all of a sudden," Molly admitted. No breeze would have hit us, seeing as walls surrounded us. I was about to get off the stage when something caught my eye. A dark figure was moving in the middle gallery. I got scared, thinking that it was someone coming to bust us. I warned Molly as our fellow intruder disappeared into the building through the closest doors. Out of fear, Molly booked it back inside before I could react. I was about to follow her when a wretched smell caught my attention. It took a couple of seconds for me to realize that it was smoke. Flames then appeared on the seats out of nowhere before gradually spreading throughout the entire structure. A fire trail then surrounded me, outlining the stage as it trapped me there. The area became so hot that I was drenched in sweat. Burning figures began to approach me from opposite sides of the stage. They acted so calmly, as if they couldn't feel their flesh burning. I then heard a hoarse voice from behind me. I slowly turned around and saw another one of those things. He was saying something to me, but with his voice combined with my overwhelming fear, I couldn't understand a word this monster said. I don't remember what happened after that. I woke up in the hospital, where 2 officers greeted me. They told me that I was found lying unconscious on the stage in the Globe Theater. I asked the officers what happened and how I got to the hospital. The officers gave me a grim look before telling me everything. It turned out that what Molly said about the Globe Theater was true. The curse, the ghosts, everything. The authorities figured it out after the theater's grand reopening. Every morning, those who worked security in the Globe Theater the night prior were found either burned to a crisp or unconscious. When the police examined the crime scene, they couldn't determine how the fire started. Even stranger was that there were no signs of burn damage anywhere in the theater. When the unconscious employees came to, they started rambling about burning spirits haunting the Globe Theater. Back then, everyone believed that demons invaded the theater. When the king learned about the strange occurrences, he'd sent a priest to bless the Globe Theater. The priest approached the king the following day. The priest confirmed that the spirits were the cast who died in the fire. He was in the middle of blessing the Globe Theater when Baldwin's ghost appeared before him. The spirit told the priest his story and how the curse killed anyone who entered the Globe Theater at night. The church tried everything in its power to help the souls cross over. Sadly, Hugh's curse was too strong to break. Since that day, London's police have surveyed the Globe Theater every night in case the ghosts claimed any more victims. I was able to get out alive. Molly, however, wasn't so lucky. Her charred remains were brought to the morgue before I woke up. I returned to America with my best friend's ashes. I haven't looked at Shakespeare or his work the same way since that night. Don't get me wrong, I still love the bard's plays and poems. But every time I watch a play, I see Baldwin standing on the stage. It wasn't until a few days after the incident that I realized what Baldwin said that night. He was reciting his character's final lines. I hope Hugh is burning in hell for what he'd done to the Globe Theater. Because of him, Baldwin is trapped in an endless cycle of what could have been his most outstanding achievement.